Looks like we live now.
Yeah, it's all good. I don't want to be hugged up. Yo, you won't say it, but I will podcast. Hold on 1 second, we getting it right. You can go ahead, bro. Slide up a little bit. All right. Just keep working it out. We're live.
Oh, you go through and invite folks?
Yeah. This is episode 1 of the Saturday podcast. We got a lot of hot topics to talk to y'all about. A lot of issues that we want to give to y'all with a different spin, with a different take that I'm sure most of y'all are used to. I want to introduce formally one of my, I don't like to call him co-host because the brother's his own man and he's his own boss. The other host of the show, along with Brother Malik Salam, of course, Brother Chris.
What's happening? What's good, world?
What's going on, man? How's everything been going with you? You know, man. Crazy world.
Yeah, man, it's a lot going on, man. A lot going on. There's a lot to unpack out here, but hey, that's what we're here to do today.
That's what we're here to do. You know, we're going to jump right into it. Y'all already know, for y'all who've been following us so far and been sharing the videos and like the videos, I know college football is on, but still share the video, like the video. Shout out to Kick Flame. Shout out to Brian Hurst and whoever else is watching. Jay Kilo, Ayo Josh, the other host, Brother Malik Salam. Shout out to everyone. Now, for those of you who've been following the podcast and listening to us on YouTube and Facebook, y'all know we say things that most people won't say. That is the whole theme of our show. We're going to go into levels and leagues of the sea that other people aren't willing to dive into because they're worried about this or that. The first topic we've already discussed this week, but we haven't got this brother's perspective on it, and we really didn't dive deep into it because we wanted to see what he had to say as well. Amber Guyger, Brother Amber Guyger, in this entire situation. I mean, what comes to mind when you hear the name?
Well, what comes to my mind is, actually seeing that image, of the chick, her in the courtroom. I think they plastered that around more so than that the mugshot photo. You got the photo of her in prison. I mean, not in prison, but in court. Crying, and so forth. But the first thing that comes to my mind is just, I really can't expound on what's the first thing that comes to my mind. But the whole situation is just crazy that something that like that could even happen. I mean, that's just beyond me.
I mean, if I had to say the first thing that came to mind is just, and I'm sure a lot of persons of color feel the same way as what I'm about to say is, business as usual. Like, honestly, can any of us say that we were surprised with the verdict or the outcome of that case?
No, I wasn't surprised. The only thing that I may have been somewhat surprised about, because when they were first, I guess, considering, what would the charges going to be? Were they going to, with the prosecution team, were they going to go with the murder charges, or were they going to go with the manslaughter? Mm. Honestly, I thought they were going to go with manslaughter. And then when they decided to go with the murder charges, I was shocked. I was like, okay, so they're really going to the full extent. But then when, I started, doing research, I'm not a lawyer by any means, but I did my research. At a point, I was like, man, now that they're setting up for murder charges, is this a way for her to kind of even get off? Because at the end of the day, you got to prove the intent for murder, which at the end of the day, they did prove it. But then the sentence, and to my knowledge, the jury, they choose the sentence after she was found guilty or whatnot. But honestly, I feel like with the sentence and everything, is not really different from a manslaughter charge. I mean, that's just from the way I look at it, because it's just like, okay, if you're gonna, charge her with murder, go to the full extent of it, but I still feel like, it was still, she was kind of like the sacrificial lamb to kind of throw out there. Whereas, because it kind of goes back to, we go back to the 90s with the OJ trial. Like, that was like because I even heard, what was the chick's name? She used to work in the White House with Trump. I think it was Ann Coulter.
Mm-hmm.
I heard her say at one point, he was like, "Oh, well, we gave them OJ." Speaking of us,
right?
We gave them OJ. So she, a white woman.
Excuse me, iCal needs your attention.
A white woman is going to be a sacrificial lamb before a white male. Mm-hmm. That's just my perspective of it. But she, but as far as like the sentencing.
Alert from iCal.
It's just,
iCal can't log into your
iCloud
account because your password may be incorrect.
I wasn't digging that at all. Sorry about that.
That's all good. It's the You Won't Say It But I Will podcast. Everything raw, everything real. Y'all bear with us on the technical aspects, but really, if you're a person who really cares about your community, I don't think you should give a damn about what's going on technically right now. We should be more focused on what the brother has to say. Basically, he's saying he wasn't surprised at all, other than the level of the sentencing. The thing that stood out to me about the level of the sentencing, for those that do know just a little bit, like you said about law, if she got hit with a 10-year, she's really only going to do 5. And with good behavior in the state of Texas, she's going to do 3. She may do 2 or 3. So it's a very disturbing precedent that was set with this case. I personally believe transitioning into Joshua Brown, I believe the reason why he was murdered, because I feel like he was the only true link that gives the narrative or can confirm the narrative of premeditated murder. Because if he was withholding information, because his lawyer came out yesterday, his lawyer came out, and I can't think of his name. His last name is Merritt, the Honorable Attorney Merritt in Dallas, Texas. He came out and said he believes that the Dallas Police Department was behind the murder. And he said before his witness even took the stand, he was being intimidated. He was being told and threatened on what not to say. The one thing that really links that, like you said, that premeditated theory is Joshua Brown. And I feel like going into this civil case, they didn't want to risk him saying anything, because that goes from being a 10-year charge to a 25-year to life. I mean, a life charge, or it's Texas, the death penalty.
Yeah. I mean, what I've heard about with the whole Joshua Brown and with the murder was that apparently they threw in it was a drug deal going bad.
Right.
Come on. Then I've heard he really didn't even want to testify in the beginning. Anyways, they had to subpoena him, and apparently he had been in another situation where he was a witness to a crime or whatnot, and some people were out looking for him. Because I think the brother was originally from Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was originally from Louisiana.
I'm not sure, but I mean, do you know the story on
that was just kind of hearsay, she say.
Okay, well, let me give you the story, and I want to know what you think about it.
Okay, go ahead.
So the official story that the Dallas Police Department came out and said, they did a press conference on Thursday, maybe Wednesday. It was Wednesday. They came out and they said that it was a drug deal going wrong.
Right.
And 3 gentlemen traveled from Monroe, Louisiana to Dallas, Texas.
Right.
And once they got there, Joshua Brown pulled a gun on one of them and told them to get back in the truck and shot one of them in the chest. The other pulled out and shot Joshua Brown.
Right.
And the 2 men fled the scene, and the injured one stayed there. Now, my question to you is, a brother who comes from one of the hoodest areas in the South. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it 100. Let's keep it real now. You Won't Say It But I Will podcast. Share the video, like the video. Who in the hell does a drug deal with a statewide to federal informant that is on national television
Right.
testifying 7 to 8 days prior? How do
Right.
you even set that deal up over the phone knowing this person is being investigated?
Yeah. And then even on his side of it, you know, if like coming from, you know, because I don't know what the relationship was between Gene and Brown,
Mm-hmm.
but why would you even risk your credibility as far as putting yourself in a situation as far as being in a drug deal,
Right.
where some scene of doubt can come in, or where it's like, oh well, he wasn't a credible witness, because when you get into the whole appeal
Absolutely.
concept, that's a complicated thing in itself as well. So you don't even have him, you know, or you know his testimony, if that even works out that way now that he's gone in this whole situation. And then
You're talking about in the appeal process.
right.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you don't, and from what I know personally, you know, of the appeal process, the defendant, you know, they have their say in it as far as why they should be appealing their case, but they also give the family. They also give the family. It may be different in the state of Texas, but it's already kind of been plastered all over the media as far as where they say, even though the mother and the father don't stand the same with his brother. And I know we're going to get to that in a little bit as well too. But that's kind of been the whole, you know, story to run with the whole, you know, forgiveness or whatever.
So basically what you're saying, and I didn't think of it like this. Everyone watching the video, share the video, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube page. You won't say it, but I will podcast. This is the other head host, Brother Christopher Williams. He'll be doing his own thing on some nights from his home in Birmingham, Alabama, and we'll unify twice a month as well. But the brand is going to keep going, so I definitely want to introduce my brother and give him some FaceTime. I know the camera's not really showing him love, but that's Brother Christopher Williams along with Brother Malik Salam, the other 1/3 of the show. Are you saying that through them getting rid of this guy, that potentially it weakens the prosecution's case against Amber Geiger?
You know, it could be. Like I said, then again, I'm not an attorney, so with the appeal process, I mean, it's not like redoing the trial over again. It's on the basis of, I guess, you know, new information, because I don't think she's just going to just try to sit there and just run her.
No, she's already appealed.
Yeah,
she appealed like 2 days before Joshua Brown was killed.
Yeah, and see, the thing about it is, it's all like you got everything in the context, from the judge hugging her,
Oh my
God.
God.
his brother, that whole thing right there. Because as far as like forgiveness, we're all our own individuals when it comes to that. Yeah, we have our perspectives of how we would have handled that situation, and I'm 100% of the people that I know and I've talked to wouldn't have done that. Myself, I wouldn't have done that. Even if I had found forgiveness in my heart, out of the respect for my parents and, you know, anybody else that may feel indifferent about it, I wouldn't necessarily do it, you know, on national TV. But if I felt compelled to where I had to share my forgiveness, you know, that would be something that would have to be done in private. But at the same time, that's a narrative that can be ran with, and honestly, that can be a narrative that can work, you know, in her favor.
Yeah, everything seems to be set up and built towards her getting released.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying immediately, but I could see in the next 2 to 3 years, she could win an appeal. You know?
Yeah, and but my question out of all of this, because this is what I've heard, like what her defense was, you know, she tried to play, you know, the self-defense.
Yeah.
But how are you were the intruder. So in that point, you're the intruder with a weapon. So you are technically the aggressor. You know, which, you know, her case didn't hold up, as we know, you know, in court. But see, the thing about it is, what a lot of people are talking about is the what's the word that I want to use? the thought process of these officers, and that's been my whole angle of it, is the thought process of it. She walks in the apartment that she thinks is hers. She sees a black guy, and she automatically thinks danger. Mm-hmm. Now, when you come to as far as like with the policing side of it, because that's not forgotten about. So how are they being taught to handle these situations? Because okay, so if you're saying if you would do this with somebody, you're off duty, you'll take these kind of measures. Don't tell them what you would do in the situation if you were on duty in a situation like that where you thought, okay, this person was, a threat. Like, as we know, this dude wasn't a threat, and evidently he wasn't even given a chance to show whether he was a threat or not. And
well, we can't Billy Bob a bullshitter. You know what I'm saying? And I say all of that to say this. Shout out to Lupito Ortega, watching it live in Sacramento, California. Has always supported the brothers, have always supported the team. Proud representative of the Mexican community. Share the video, like the video. Y'all do us a favor and tag your friends and bring them into the video. If they don't want to support it, is what it is. But our only intention is to shed light and to start conversation, fluent conversation that's not under the restrictions of PC. You can't bully Billy Bob a bullshitter. You said her self-defense. Her self-defense, I don't think we can be too technical and worry too much about the laws, because the laws have never been built for everyone in this country. Her self-defense is her blonde hair. Her self-defense is the way America perceives her looking. I've been in legal cases before, and I've been up against women and men. And if it's a woman in the situation going against a black man, they tell the woman to show up to court a certain way because they know that the jury or they know that the judge is going to be lenient in a certain way if this person is going up against this big black male. Right. So it's the same thing in this case. Everything seems to be slanted towards her defense. The second thing that you were saying about the police, the thing that's deep about the police is this, man. It's not about what they're being trained to do. Mm-hmm. It's about their backgrounds and their upbringing.
Yeah, it's a lot to do with their conditioning, because
and what they know in society they can get away with, and with who they can get away with.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, when you think about it, okay, so let's just we're not saying this is how she grew up, but we're just
right. So
she it's a possibility she probably grew up. She never really grew up. I'm not going to say she didn't grow up with, not being around black people, but you're not growing up in an environment where you are not necessarily forced to learn, to learn the culture, where your culture is more so the dominant than that. So you don't have to learn about it. Whereas, like the high school that I went to, 99.9% black folks, and white person coming to that school, they're gonna be forced to learn about our culture. If they're gonna continue to go to school there, they're gonna learn about it regardless if they want to or not. Mm-hmm. Whereas, just like if we went to one of their schools, we're forced. Well, even in our own schools, we're still forced to learn about it. How they
right. That's fact.
But the thing about it is, if you're comfortable, when you're comfortable in your bubble, and you think it's all sweet, because the only thing that you know of the culture is what you see on TV, or what you hear on the radio, or what the statistics say. We all know that. A lot of people are like, oh, well, the numbers say this, the numbers say that, but numbers always can be skewed. But the thing about it is, it's, in that situation, you look, she just, the way I put it is just, she don't know about the culture. She don't care about the culture.
If her name was Nikevia Jackson, mm-hmm. and she was in the same exact situation, and she didn't know about white culture, and this happened with the situation.
Well, culture wouldn't even be I don't even think it'll be a relevant.
So why does it matter in Amber Geiger's case?
Well, the way that I would say it is because all right, if say it's me and you in that same situation, right? You walk into my apartment, you're probably gonna be like, oh shit. You know, you see me get up and okay, number one, let's take a step back. If somebody's breaking into your apartment and they're in your apartment, why would they be sitting around with the lights off eating ice cream?
Who was eating ice cream?
That was in the
who was eating ice cream?
Both in John, he was eating ice cream. He was sitting down eating
Chris,
ice cream.
I'm gonna break the barrier right now and use the first curse word on the show. He was fucking that bitch. Like, we're not believing the narrative that she just randomly walked into this.
Okay.
House.
So you're saying so you're not believing the narrative that she just walked in. So
Botham Jones was known for knocking down white chicks in Dallas.
Okay. So you think that they had a relationship?
I know they had to have a relationship. And there's a witness. Sister Lapita posted it. Sister Lapita, if you're still watching, please drop that link right here in the chat box with the witness that came for it, the young lady that's been fired from her job. Will you please post that so everyone is listening and everybody on the YouTube page tonight can review that interview? But yeah, it definitely is. That my mic or your mic?
Yeah, I think it's yours.
Okay. All right, it's all good. It's definitely a situation where they knew each other. You know, it's definitely a situation where it's deeper. But like I said, you can't have that come out because then that's premeditated murder. They said, now the witness, Joshua Brown, said when he heard her, she was angry. Mm-hmm. And the young lady also said as well that when she heard her walking up the stairs, she was on the cell phone.
Right.
No, walking down the stairs after the murder, she was on the cell phone, and the first call wasn't with the police, and she was talking about personal matters. This is after the shooting. So I just feel like it's convenient that they don't know each other. And if they do know each other, then you're looking at the death penalty for... Listen now, let me lay this out for you. In the history of America, what white woman has ever been executed for murdering a black man? And the state of Texas is going to be the state that sets that precedence and allows that to happen. No chance in hell.
No, I don't know in any situation where a white woman.
And I feel like it's kind of irresponsible because I know other podcasts would do that and they would talk about just the official story. But I feel like it's irresponsible if we don't give people the dynamics of what could happen if it is a situation where they did know each other.
Yeah, I mean,
you know
if they knew each other, then that questions a whole nother motive of why. Because I did find it strange that
the door was ajar.
Yeah, the door was ajar, and these were like, I guess these were like high tech apartment doors.
Firefighter doors.
Yeah, because they automatically shut.
So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So if we went down that road, then yeah, it's definitely. I mean, this day and age, I wouldn't be shocked, but you know, as much as stuff. I mean, something like this can, as much as stuff that they've covered up, like in this country's history, something like this would be nothing to cover up.
Nothing. And shout out to Dion for saying it's a dope podcast. We're working, we're trying, you know what I'm saying? I know we didn't give any advertisers before we came on. This is really like our first Saturday test run, and we wanted to test the market out. And we know that a lot of you listen to the videos after we post them. So, and I wanted to give my man Chris that ether. I wanted him to give you that chance to give y'all that ether. So, the brother's bringing up some points that I didn't think about, that we didn't discuss the other night. Like the whole thing with the appeal is fucking mind-boggling. Man.
Yeah,
because that makes sense.
Yeah, because I mean,
you removed the witness. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't have
the family's already forgiven her.
Yeah, that's going to be the forefront. The brother, you know, asking for forgiveness. Oh man. And like I know some people have questioned his motive on that, and I've heard this point. Somebody, it was I can't think of what was the source that I heard it from, but they were the brother was talking about he has a class. I forgot where. I think he has like a class that he teaches in DC somewhere. And one of his students was Nigerian, and she said that she thinks that with his whole family history being, from Haiti, what was it that she said? She was like, she thinks it's more of a spiritual passing thing, like passing his burden, of the way he feels about his brother's death on to her. That's the reason why he hugged her.
You talking about Voodoo?
Yeah. And when I heard that,
who said that?
It was I can't think of the brother's name, but he's on Roland Martin's show. I cannot think of the brother's name, but he was talking about it. They were having a discussion about it in his class, and like he was like the girl from Nigeria, when she said it, like everybody else in the class laughed about it. But then when you think about it, I'm like, I mean, that wouldn't be an idea that I wouldn't pass up as far as his motive behind it. But then we can't get too caught up in the motive of what he did, because that was his personal decision. And then,
but it plays into such a big agenda.
Yeah, it does.
When does it become personally? When do we have to start taking offense to it personally? Because it becomes something that, like you said, the defense can use in court.
Yeah.
It's bigger than just him. Like you said earlier, if it's a true apology, why does it have to be voiced?
Exactly, because I mean, when it comes to forgiveness, because like that's something that comes out of your heart.
That's
so
right.
we don't know if it's for real or not. Right. We don't know if it's for real. I mean, it could be a bunch of bullshit, but
right.
But if it's true and sincere, I mean, that's the way he chose to go about doing it. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't have did it. I don't even think I would have got. I don't think I could have got up in front of, courtroom like that.
It seems like a show.
Yeah, and then
like the bailiff and the judge and him, it just seems like somebody
told
him
and then
to do that.
Yeah, because his mom's how she voiced her opinion about it is totally different.
Exactly, but
totally different.
They didn't shed a lot of light on that.
Yeah, and she's not finna, if she disagrees with it, she's not finna bash her only son that she has left on on national media. She's gonna do like a mother's gonna do. She's gonna protect him any backlash that he may receive from that. But I like how she came out and said, let's still not. That was his position of it. That doesn't necessarily represent our whole family.
Right.
And for any other people, that have gone through these type of situations, let's not forget, because that's the thing. You forgive and forget. Because I heard somebody say, as far as like with the that whole turning the other cheek, because when we think about, it's still people that want to do physically harm to innocent Muslims that had nothing to do with that over 9/11.
No one's talking about turning the other cheek.
Yeah, and so I mean, when people mourn or people have, you just gotta let them do that, because I've been in situations where I have to mourn, but I don't. But nobody, nobody comes to me telling me, oh, you should feel this way or you should feel that way. I'm not finna do that to nobody. Like, I mean,
right.
If you just don't do that. But I mean, that whole the whole thing, like, I feel like it was, like I said, with how they went with the initial, they were torn between the manslaughter and murder, because I felt like if they went with initially went with the murder charges, because you have to approve the intent.
Who the hell gets 10 years for murder?
I don't know, man, because I felt like it was a murder charge to appease the folks that were saying, hey, she needs to be convicted for murder, but then we're gonna convict you of murder, but we're gonna, we're basically gonna give you a manslaughter sentence.
That's what it was, and also, brother, I want to speak on this before we get too far, because I know we're kind of pressed for time. You got things you got to do, and I got to get back to A3C. I want to dig through this. All right, I want to dig through something you said. You made the statement that a professor who appeared on Roland Martin was saying that either a student,
Yeah, it was a student of his.
a student of his said that really that could be because he's Haitian, the Voodoo religion of passing off the energy of the worries or the burden onto her.
Right.
And my problem with success and what we feel like are accolades is that when you're an oppressed people, what's the difference between a fat pig and a skinny pig?
I mean, I don't think there's a difference between either one.
There's no difference. One's just well-fed, led to the slaughter, and the other starved, led to the slaughter.
Right.
But both of them are going to be on somebody's plate by sunup.
Right.
You know, and with that being said, a lot of people in our culture, instead of facing what we're facing as a people, you know what I'm saying? You could say as an American people, you could say as African American people. I'm gonna say as a people, and I'm speaking about people who were taken from the African diaspora or diaspora, whatever you want to say. We over philosophize or we get over philosophical because we don't want to deal with the fact of it is a known thing that black victims are expected to forgive. It is a known thing in these situations. If the roles are different, matter of fact, I asked them this the other night. I want to see what your reaction is before I make that point. I'm just going to ask you some questions.
All right, go ahead.
When O.J. Simpson was going through the trial, Chris, don't bullshit me. Give me a quick one now.
No, go ahead.
When he was going through the initial trial, did you think O.J. was guilty?
Man,
just keep it G real.
now how old was I? I think I was maybe like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
When the trial first came out, honestly, like just going based off the energy of everybody else around me, I'm like, nah, he ain't do that shit.
But years later,
yeah, because you know,
after the revisionist history, do you feel like O.J. was guilty? Are you dancing, Chris?
No. This is how I feel, what I feel about it. If I would the physicality of it, like, and this was like OJ maybe 10 years ago. Yeah. He could have did both of them real quick like that.
Right.
I honestly, like, if he had some involvement in it, he had to have some help in it. But at the end of the day, it was the shit was just a circus. It was a circus show. It was all a political show, just like this situation is. Because
hold on, Chris. Hold on, Chris. Y'all remember the other night? Now check this out. Was he guilty or not? In your eyes, after knowing all the things you know now, was OJ guilty of murder?
Man.
Got him on the clock, folks. Got him on the clock, and he's sweating.
I'm trying to. How can I unpack this? Because see,
I got a better one.
All right. Was
R. Kelly guilty of the initial sex tape with the underage young lady?
Now that R. Kelly. Now I don't want to go too deep off into that because I don't want us to get off the.
No, I'm just asking.
But what? I mean, honestly, I felt like, okay, with OJ, I feel like he is guilty by acquaintance. Okay. Like, not necessarily, I physically did this, but he has the financial resources to have it done. But the thing about it is, all right, so I know this is going to be totally different. It's totally off the perspective of what we're talking about. But the thing about it is, if he say he's guilty, right?
Right.
All right. Now you have to prove the evidence that he's guilty, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing about it is, when you got a negative and a negative, you're gonna come out with a negative, right? I think that's right. So you got a guilty OJ.
Negative is positive.
Okay, well, scratch that. Anyway, scratch that. But all right, so you got guilty OJ on this hand.
Yeah.
But then you got guilty cops on this hand.
See, look, Chris, you're absolutely right in everything you say, and I'm glad you brought that up. And this shows you the difference between somebody who was raised in the 90s and someone who was raised in today's age. Because this brother does not want to say that OJ was guilty. I see it in his face. He's holding on to OJ not being guilty. Hold on. But if I was talking to a millennial, 9 times out of 10, because of revisionist history, see, you know the history of the O.J. Simpson case. Yeah. But because of revisionist history and how they repainted the O.J. Simpson case and removed the officer that was racist the entire time from history, and now he has a job on Fox as an analyst where he has a clause in his contract where he won't ever have to speak about the things that he did to set O.J. up back then. But hold on. So R. Kelly, guilty or not guilty? Real quick.
My brother, guilty, man.
Okay, guilty. Bill Cosby, guilty or not guilty?
With Bill, man, I still feel like with Bill, nah.
Okay, all right. The reason why I brought up these examples was this, and Chris threw me off because he didn't have the answer that most people have nowadays. R. Kelly was found not guilty in the court of law.
Yeah, okay, and that...
Hold on, Chris. That's the bottom line. I know that pisses y'all off. I know that makes you upset. But he was found not guilty in the court of law. Yeah,
that's true. He was found not
guilty. O.J. Simpson was found not guilty in the court of law. And in both instances, even when they were found not guilty, America still considered them guilty.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying. I see what
so in this situation, we're debating with Amber Geiger whether or not, even though she's guilty, it still feels like we're talking about somebody that's gonna get the fuck off. That's how crazy this country is.
Yeah, it is. Cause see, like when you look at it in the court of law, with OJ, you know, and R. Kelly, the cases were found. You know, I mean, like with the R. Kelly. The chick came out and was like, nah, her folks came out, nah, that wasn't
her.
And
then it was his brother.
Yeah.
It was his brother. It wasn't R. Kelly that did.
And he did. Is he still doing time for it?
No, but his brother confessed to it.
So, you know, but the thing with OJ, I felt like in so many ways, like
Lupita, is R. Kelly guilty? Let me know what you think. Go ahead.
The shit, it backfired on him. It backfired on him like hella time because, okay, the shit that they did in the OJ case, like you probably didn't. If you would have just let the shit just do normal police work, you probably could have figured it out. Because the one thing that I said, like with the whole revise of it, you notice the getaway driver. They never talked to that guy.
They never talked to that guy. But see, the thing about it, Chris, after living in LA for a while and being back and forth, and I'll be back in California at the end of this month, everybody, so I'm letting y'all know. But, you know, Chris, OJ didn't do it. It's painfully obvious that they call him the mayor of Brenton. So a lot of those Caucasians were upset that this uppity nigga was living out there, having sex with a white woman. He didn't do it, Chris.
Okay, so
the LAPD set him up, man.
That was, and see the thing about when we talk about like the culture of police, where you got Mark, what is it, Furman?
Oh,
that's to me that's probably one of the most overlooked things because we're talking about a guy that has a racial background.
Yeah.
You know, he's done theatrical stuff. You know, he's written, you know, articles and things of that of you know, a racial nature. But yet and still you have this guy not working for any other police department but LAPD. And the thing about it is you don't question the fact that could be we just think of that one guy.
It's a fucking recording with this man saying we're going to set this uppity nigga up, and people still question whether or not he did it. Now, the reason why this is relevant with Amber Geiger, we're sitting up here discussing, both of us, and this is not this brother's fault, it's not my fault. We're just living in the reality that we see. We're discussing if a freaking door was ajar that science tells us it's not possible for it to be ajar. And that this man is just sitting in there eating some ice cream, and she randomly jumps to a whole nother floor that's not her apartment and kills a man. This is how crazy the system has. It's what I'm trying to drive at. It's always an air of innocence when it comes to Caucasians, even when proven guilty. And when it comes to African Americans, look, man, I'm going to tell you, Chris did not say this, all right? Chris didn't come out his mouth and say this shit right at all. R. Kelly is guilty as hell when it comes to probably sleeping with underage girls. There's no doubt about that. I'm sure of that. But did R. Kelly tie somebody up in a basement?
Your question. I'm like, when you said this R. Kelly, I thought you were speaking of like prison.
Right. No,
No, he was. No,
in the past, he was not guilty.
Yeah, he was found not guilty.
But what I'm saying, did he actually sleep with underage girl? That's possible. But the dungeon shit and all of this, he did all of this. This is the same thing they did to OJ when OJ got off. Remember, he went to Vegas and was trying to collect his
that shit right there, that was awful, because like you should have let like that he earned that stuff. But
it's always an aura of he's guilty. And this is what's happened with R. Kelly. I don't believe half of the shit on Survive. Me, not Chris. Half of the shit on Survive and R. Kelly, I don't believe none of that bullshit. Get into my email, hit me up on Facebook, hit me up on Instagram. I'm here for all of the smoke, my nigga. I don't believe none of that shit. I believe that he was guilty back then. We want to make an example out of this nigga for the Me Too movement. We can't make one through Harvey Weinstein because he has too much money, too much power, too much influence, and half of them are under gag orders. So the black male is always the easy target. And then when it comes to Amber Geiger, it's this air of she's innocent, and was the door really open, and maybe she really didn't know, and the brother is his choice to forgive. It's always questions. They always have us questioning ourselves when it comes to that white supremacy, and it's a problem.
Yeah, because like the thing about it is like when we're found guilty, it's over with. That's just it. You know, you're guilty. But when it's the other way around, it's like, okay, is it
like, you know, is it? They have you questioning. Anthony Long, let's read some of the comments. Anthony Long said, Kels is guilty. I respect your opinion on that. Of a lot of something. OJ definitely tried to make people feel like he did it. OJ didn't try to make people feel like he did it. Mark Furman, like the brother said, came out. And this is what really sacked the case. They didn't want to give, what's the brother that passed away, an African-American hero that deserves a day?
Oh, you talking about Cochran?
Johnny Cochran. They didn't want to give Johnny Cochran credit on that show. But when Johnny Cochran got those tapes discovered, and the state of North Carolina would not allow him to try to get the case released, and they gave it to the Jewish attorney, that ended that case. Because basically, like Chris was alluding to, that really could have put the entire LAPD on trial.
Right.
They basically were confessing to having at least a conspiracy to set O.J. Simpson up.
Yeah.
Now, in the streets, that's called RICO law. Talk to Bobby Shmurda about RICO law.
Yeah. And then, because another incident that's kind of similar to that I kind of unpacked and, you know, watched as of late with your boy Ricky Ross. Mm-hmm. Like, he got caught, but at the same time, and it's known fact, because you had officers that, you know, that were even tried.
Right.
You know, they were, they caught him, but at the same time, they technically didn't catch him.
Right.
They technically didn't catch him. They caught him by more so of his assailants. They caught them by planting stuff on them.
Right. They never caught him with drugs.
And that's kind of what I felt about with OJ. Now,
But that nigga's guilty. Rick Ross is still guilty.
Rick.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he did his first thing. He did like what 10?
He did 3.
He did
and then
3.
The second time he did 10.
Yeah, he did 10, and then you saw how they tried to sweep him under the rug, which is crazy. I still trying to wrap my mind around it because he read in the when he was in jail when he learned how to read.
Yeah.
He read about the continuous criminal or whatnot, and that's how he was able to get the 3 strikes rule overturned.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like with I don't even think she would have even licked off the shot. She probably would have like, "What you doing here?" But at the same time, because
Chris, nobody's going into anyone's apartment, bro, and just shooting them.
yeah, I mean,
it's hard for me to discuss the theory because it sounds so stupid, and not from you. I'm saying,
how long has she lived in that apartment?
I'm not certain.
I'm pretty sure it seems that she's lived there some time, and so that always baffled me too because I never in 1,000 years and I've lived at a number of apartments have I ever went into the wrong apartment. Like I never
and she just already had her gun on deck.
Yeah,
like you see what I'm saying?
I don't know how police officers unpack like when they get off. Do they take their weapon off, leave it in the car? Do they leave it in their locker?
Well, normally you're gonna leave your firearm. I mean, it's Texas, so it's a license to carry state.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a free to carry state. But with that being said, normally you're gonna leave your firearm, especially if it's your work firearm at home. Now, if you were getting into an argument with the lover who's on the side and you're frustrated about something, and you're drunk and you're having an argument, then I can see how you could end up shooting someone. I can see how that would happen. But that's just my theory. The facts are out. Well, we're not gonna call them the facts. The presumed facts, the alleged facts are out there. I want to transition because I see we're getting up there in time. One of the listeners wanted us to discuss the topic of the show, which was, are black people sick of voting? Are they disenfranchised with the Democratic Party? Do they feel as though they can't trust the Republican Party? And they are at the point where they're so disenfranchised, it is actually going to hurt the community long term.
Yeah, I think as far as like with voting, like I've known people, I know people personally that gave up on it years ago, even before Obama. They were like, I give up on it, and one of those persons that in particular comes from small town in Alabama that probably in their whole entire lifetime, out of any vote that they may have cast up until the point where they just said I'm done with it,
right,
it's probably saw no benefit from it. And the thing about it is with the whole Democratic Party, like I think that you're gonna have some of your folks they feel that they have to be aligned with some party. If I'm not Democrat, then I'm gonna go over here to the right or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you got some of those that are just like, you got some folks that are like, man, my life hadn't changed one way or the other.
Right.
Whether when I did vote or when I didn't vote, it hadn't changed one way or the other. But then you got some that are just like, I'm stuck. Like I feel guilty if I don't vote, and then two, I don't want to go and vote for which one is the lesser evil. Okay, well, damn sure not gonna vote for Trump, but then let's just say somebody like Biden.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Biden comes around.
Does Joe Biden get you energized to want to run out and vote in November?
Nah, not at all. A lot of the stuff, it's funny now. Like a lot of the stuff that is questioned about him now is coming up.
Yeah.
But these were things that I didn't even know about prior to. Right. But yeah, I think people are getting exhausted of it, and then at the same time, it's just like, we put these people in office, but then when they get in office, nothing comes of what they say, and then sometimes I think it is kind of a lack of knowledge of what these people can really do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it's and then the thing too, you know, we can't forget, you know, how these, because it's just one. You know, what was it? Democrat, was it a Dixie Party?
Yeah, the Dixiecrats.
Yeah, the Dixiecrats, and then they eventually shifted over to Republicans.
Sides.
Yeah.
Well, no. Yeah, that is what happened. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Now I'm still doing my research to see how did that, you know, that transition come.
Well, the Republican Party was always the party of freedom, and really the Republican Party.
But it's still questionable with that when we say that they were the party of freedom, because they were the party of freedom, and this is just stuff that I've researched on my own. Okay, so Abraham Lincoln was a Republican.
Frederick Douglass.
And the thing about it is, okay, so, you know, but you say they were a party of freedom, but what was their motive?
But see, when I say party of freedom, I don't mean party of freedom as freedom for black people.
Right.
I mean, the Republican Party, when you just look at their principles and religious ideology, oh yeah, y'all didn't know Republicans are religions and is a religious organization, and the Democrats are a religious organization, which is why people religiously vote Republican or Democrat no matter who's on the ballot. So, but with that being said, ideological wise, when you're dealing with ideology and what America is supposed to stand for, America is not a democracy, it's a republic. And the thing that is beautiful about the Republican Party, if it stood for what it really stands for, is no big government, no infringing on my rights or anyone's rights. Supposed to be black, white, green, alien, doesn't matter.
Right.
No infringing on my rights. Let me raise my family and live the way I want and have the religion and be the way that I want to be. Freedom. It sounds good. That's really what the Republican Party is about. But do they adhere to these principles? When it comes to them, yes. When it comes to anyone else, no.
Right. Yeah, it's, you know, it's about, you know, okay, if you're going to, like, for example, if somebody says, like, hey, I'm a Buddhist or I'm Muslim, but I want to rock with the Republican Party.
Right.
Before you do so, you have to become a conservative Christian.
So you're not signing up for Kanye West's the
Sunday
Democrat
service?
Yeah, Sunday service.
The
Democrats,
Blexit?
the Democrats haven't done anything for us. Let's give them a chance.
I'm not. That whole situation with him and Trump is it's a business deal.
It's a joke, right?
Yeah, it's a joke because okay, put my lady up. You know, is put my lady up and showing her as this person that's fighting for, you know, was prison reform.
Yeah.
And then it's what you can do for me and what you can do for me, but it's not necessarily what you can do for, you know, me and my people. No, what can you do for me and my family? Yeah. And then what can you do for me and my family?
Has anybody sold the black community out like Jay-Z and Kanye West in the last 2 months?
Man,
like these guys, like you're saying, they're playing for keeps, bro.
Yeah,
they're playing for generational wealth with their families.
Yeah. Now, when we say, you know, as far as like the generational wealth, like as far as like gaining for your family, yeah, I'm all for that. But at the sacrifice of other
people, hell no.
No, that's not cool. You know, portraying this way. Like I would almost like who's somebody that we never hear about them talk about politics. Just think about just somebody they don't take on that whole like I'm just here to do this, I'm here to do that. But then, you know, somebody who we wouldn't expect one way or the other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They come out and they say, "Hey, well, you know, hey, I'm gonna do this move, and this is."
It wouldn't look as strange.
No, because we don't know them of having an agenda.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We can look at it as, oh, this is just a business move. And then like with the whole so the Super Bowl is gonna be in Miami, right?
Right. And now
And then-
all the Latino artists.
J-Lo. Was it J-Lo, Ariana Grande?
Yeah, none of them are from Miami.
None of them from Miami. You got Pitbull.
Yeah.
You got Flo Rida. Like Flo
You
Rida.
got Trick Daddy.
Trick.
You
Yeah.
got Trick. It doesn't have to be Latino.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be
because
Latino. You know?
but you don't have no Miami artists.
No, because
No.
it seems like it's the age of the. If you're not going along with what we want, if you're not accepting what we want, then we'll just freeze you out. That's that day and age. My question to you, because I see we got 4 minutes left on our hour podcast. My question to you is this, brother: is it going to impact the election? The disenfranchisement of
I think-
African Americans and the Kanye West picking certain brothers and sisters off.
Yeah, it's definitely. I think it's definitely going to impact the election. Whatever Democrat comes out, there's going to run against him.
They're gonna suffer.
They're gonna suffer. It's almost kind of like a flip to what happened with Obama's second term.
Yeah,
with Romney, because it was like
They weren't energized.
yeah, they were not energized. They were not energized by Romney, and because Romney, he probably feels the same way as Trump,
Right.
but he probably was like, no, I can't do this.
Right.
I'm not going to do this. I'm
Right.
not going to, put this at risk. This, that, and the third. Trump had nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose.
He-
I'm not gonna go there. We'll go ahead.
But yeah, I do think it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt big time because I mean, just from like some people I know, they say regardless of who it is, I'm gonna vote for it. But then my question is, okay, so say Biden is on the ballot and you vote him in, and then he comes up with an even more stricter.
Like 3 strikes and you're out.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. So and he just flips it on you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying. So but then you're gonna feel responsible for that. But I think that, and I heard Brother X say it, a long time ago. At the end of the day, man, you know what I'm saying. Like we probably do better with our own party.
And that's what Brother Anthony Long said in the chat box. He said we'll probably do better with our own party.
Yeah,
I would surmise to you that we already had our own party. It was called the Black Panther Party, and they shut it down.
Yeah.
So I'm afraid of us having our own party, and it only be
that can be
puppeting. But I feel like the only party they would allow us to have is a party that mirrored the Republican and the Democratic Party, and and the people involved with it would just end up selling out. And
it wouldn't be a party because like when I hear Malcolm X talking about like having our own party, we're speaking of a party of a black nationalist movement.
Right, exactly.
That won't happen because it will always be spinned off. You're racist.
But see, it's not about, and we gotta wrap up, man. This has been super dope. But y'all listen. It's gonna be every 2 weeks. Every I would say second Saturday of the month and fourth Saturday of the month. And that's just tentatively now. This is You Won't Say It But I Will podcast with the head host Christopher Williams, and I am El Fusey. Y'all know how we get down. I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna wrap it up. It's too much to say.
Yeah.
We'll just have to get back to y'all because I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to underdo it. It's been a wonderful show, brother. I appreciate you coming up. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna keep it rocking. The brother will be doing his own thing. Where can they catch you at, bro?
You can catch me on my YouTube page. It's under Christopher Williams. And then I'll be getting up, a Facebook page and